Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Rant Squad. I am the Water Dog. This is
Brennan Menard.
and gang. Our buddy Clint is doing chemo this week, and so he's going to be out. So we hope he feels better after going through all these processes and stuff like that. So keep your thoughts and prayers with him, if you would, please. But we're going to talk about the playoffs, and we're going to give you our game predictions for what's going to be happening in the divisional round. So let's go back to the wild card round. Was there any game that stood out for you, Mr. Brendan?
Well, you have the obvious, the Texans coming through with my prediction of a victory. But it was the way that they won I thought was so impressive. I thought the Chargers would have a much better team. The Texans would kind of be in it but not in it. We've seen that all year. And that defense, especially Derek Stingley Jr., just came out with 4 interceptions they had on him. And
That's crazy because I think Herbert had only 3 for the year.
Yeah.
So he had 3 for the year, and he waits for this to be his worst game, and he throws more interceptions in that game than he does in the entire season.
Well, I think what happened, right, was Houston just got to such a good lead where he has to throw.
Yeah.
And that defense can just pin its ears back. And when you have Will Anderson and Hunter are rushing you, that's a great defensive line, and he's having to force throws.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things about the Texans. They do, Hunter did, and
Will Anderson.
I'm going to get it out there. Those two guys have just been beasts. And the thing about it is you don't have great cover corners, but what you do have is playmakers at the corner positions, in the defensive backs for the Texans. And so that helps you. So when you've got a pass rush, they can just sit there, pin their ears back and go, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got those playmakers in the secondary. Well, you cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting to see this week against, in my opinion, probably one of the best offenses, that we've seen, right? The Chiefs, they just somehow get better. They let Pro Bowlers go, and they're still good. I'll be interested to see if they can do that to Mahomes. I don't think they will, but I think they could fluster him a little bit in that pocket, but he's not throwing 4 picks.
I watched every play of every game. Every play of every game. I think, the disappointing game was the Steelers-Ravens game for me because I didn't think the Steelers would show a whole lot better than what they did. But coaching matters.
Yeah.
And I just can't tell you just how much coaching matters, especially when you're talking about at this level of play. I watched in the first quarter the Steelers on 3rd and, pretty much medium, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, okay? Russell Wilson makes the right play, but the receiver doesn't run past the sticks. He gets tackled a half a yard behind the sticks on 2 consecutive drives. Pretty much the same play, wide open. Why is not the receiver getting past the sticks for the first down? Because it would be just as open. It makes absolutely no sense why you are running a route below the sticks, on a 5 to 7 yard route. Makes no sense. You're completing the pass, you're getting the play, but you're getting tackled a half yard behind the line of scrimmage to be able to continue drives because, Wilson didn't play that bad. And there's somebody going to say, well, Wilson, he's just not good enough to win. He was 20 for 29. He threw 2 touchdown passes, and he's basically at the point, in that game because the Steelers defense had given up so much, he's got nothing to do but throw the football because they're not running the football at this particular point. I just don't understand. I like Mike Tomlin, but they have got to get an offensive guy there.
Yeah.
By the same token, you go over and you watch the Rams and the Vikings last night. That was the game won specifically by coaching.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with anything else. The Vikings lost because the Rams just outcoached. McVay outcoached O'Connell. That to me is exactly what it was.
I didn't get to watch a lot of the game. I was out at dinner, but they kind of had it at the sports bar, and so I'd look over a little bit, not be rude, look over a little bit. And it seemed like there was a point when it was 10-3, and the Vikings got that return for a touchdown. They got called back. And it just seemed like ever since that play got reversed, it was just snowball. The Rams just kind of ran with it.
Well, I mean, the Rams did exactly what the Lions did. They realized after watching the Lions game that the Vikings' offensive line is not that good.
And like 9 sacks.
Okay, it's just not that good. So what you can do is you just send everything you got at the line of scrimmage. And Darnold, of course, who does wait a little bit longer than most quarterbacks to throw the football, well, then all of a sudden that's where your 9 sacks come from. But he also was feeling frustrated, and he got a little frustrated, and O'Connell should have just come and said, look, man, because their defense actually played pretty good. Yeah. And if you go and you look at the stats, the Vikings win on almost every stat except for the scoreboard. They had more yards, you know what I'm saying? So there was 2 stats, the scoreboard and the sacks. That was the 2 things where there was difference. And a lot of that's just coaching. And, McVay is basically just outcoached O'Connell. Now, it was very reminiscent for me after watching this game of thinking about when McVay played in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, where he was completely outcoached by Belichick, right?
Yeah.
And then he followed it up. He realized his mistakes. He changed his ways. He changed his philosophy on how to prepare for specific games. And he went out and they got him a Super Bowl, right? What happens now with O'Connell? Because he is just as smart, and I can see O'Connell learning from this particular game. And he's got to realize that this game was his fault more than Darnold. I know Darnold's going to take a lot of the blame, but you can't sit there and play as good as Darnold has for 16 weeks, and then to look at these last 2 weeks and say he can't play. That's just a bunch of crap. That's just because your offensive line can't block, and teams found holes. And your coach did not figure out a way to make that weakness, not as big of a shortcut.
I kind of laughed because, like I said, I was at dinner and I'm just kind of watching the score. And you can tell when it gets out of hand. And I just thought, all year we talked about Minnesota. Who is Minnesota? Who is Minnesota? And I could just keep remembering. I can't remember his name, but it was the coach for the Cardinals. And the Bears are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing, just kind of thinking about, well, the Vikings are who we thought they were. I know I picked them to win. I thought they'd bounce back, and I was wrong on that pick. But I guess the Vikings are who we thought they were.
Well, I mean, I've liked the Rams since the preseason. I like the team. I picked them to win the division.
Well, they're finally healthy, and that's what's really
But I mean, I picked them to win the division at the beginning of the year, if you remember correctly. And I like the team, and I like the fact that there's a young team. So now you should know who Jared Verse is. That man, he played a game. I'm telling you, he looked unstoppable in that game on that defensive front up there. And I like the Rams. I like the coach. I like a lot of their key personnel and stuff like that. And they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles are going to have their work. Now, I think the Eagles got a better roster. I think the Eagles got overall better players. But the difference is going to be coaching. And
I agree with you on that point right there. I think Philly has all the firepower. I don't even think that game on paper should not be close. But coaching is going to matter in that game.
Anything else from the wild card weekend stand out for you?
Well, congratulations to the Commanders. They somehow beat Tampa. That surprised me on a doink. It went in, but still, you know what I mean? I thought Tampa was going to win it by a touchdown or.
I thought the game was over when Baker made that run. When Baker made that run and he just did what Baker does to inspire the team because they never punted after that. I think there was only one punt in the whole game, in fact, because the Commanders never punted, right? And the game was going by quick because there were some long drives. And I think there was like a 17-play drive by the Commanders and a 13-play drive. There was some long drives in that game. So even though the score was in the low 20s, I think with just one punt in the whole game, you would think there'd be a high-scoring game, but it wasn't.
That's where I just thought Tampa would run away with it because that's the shootout team. That's Baker Mayfield style.
Yeah.
And but the Commanders, they find a way to win.
Well, what killed the Bucs was penalties and not being able to make stops on third down. They had plenty of third down stop opportunities. I mean, even in that final drive that the Commanders had, they had Daniel sacked, and he breaks that tackle and gets the first down. And so there you go. Yeah, but I can agree. Congratulations to the Commanders, brother. Well, that's the wild card. Let's talk about who's going to win the divisional round. We're going to start in the AFC with my boy's favorite team right there and his Super Bowl pick against my Super Bowl pick to make it in the AFC. We've got the Houston Texans going out to Kansas City.
Yep.
Who you got, brother?
So in this game, I think it's very reminiscent of the Miracle on Ice. And not that Kansas City's the Russians, but they're the Reds, if you want to be honest here. When he says in that locker room, if we played them 10 times, that'd beat us 9. But tonight is the 1 out of 10. And for the, I guess, analogy, I think Houston's going to skate with him. And I think this will be the game. I don't know really why, because I think if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I think they're going to win it. But something tells me Houston's going to rewrite the wrongs from the year with Deshaun Watson. They were up 24-0. I can't remember what quarter it was in, and they ended up losing that game. And I just think Houston's defense will not be as dominant as they were, but give me Houston to go. I told you, Houston will go to Kansas City and beat them in Arrowhead. I thought it'd be the AFC Championship, but I'll take the division.
Okay, so you're sticking with your guns there. Despite the Texans win, offensively, they still didn't win.
Yeah.
You know, you could say what you want. I mean, they make, you know, that game was won on the defensive side of the football. Stroud still threw a couple of interceptions. They still didn't move the ball well. They didn't even run the ball as well as we thought they was going to run the football. And the running didn't really pick up until the second half of the game. And, you know, and so Joe Mixon, to me, really wasn't as much of a factor as we thought that he would be, especially in a playoff game, because that's why you brought him in. You brought him in. So are they going to utilize him? Is he going to be able to run? Because we're talking about a cold weather game.
Well, it's Spagnuolo, so that Chiefs defense is going to be good. And this, you know, I think Houston's defense will keep him in this game. But, you know, Stroud, to me, if he's on, and you can kind of tell in the first few drives what kind of day it's going to be. If he's on, that's going to be a great offense. If he's off, then you're going to be at Bleak Creek without a boat, okay? Because you're going to get 7 points out of him.
I just don't trust him right now. Like I said, I had my doubts going into this season. He has not played this well this season.
No.
They're very lucky that they are in a very weak division.
Correct.
And, you know, but they did play very well in this first round of the playoffs. And so we'll see how this goes. But, man, you got to take you just can't. I mean, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Andy Reid coming off a bye is almost unbeatable.
It's our 1 out of 10.
Okay.
This weekend we skate with the Reds.
You're giving Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare. Man, that's just not good.
On paper, you know, like right now the spread is Kansas City -8.
Yeah.
I get it. On paper, the Chiefs should win this game pretty convincingly, I think. But something just kind of tells me Houston's going to stop the three-peat.
Chiefs are healthiest they've ever been. They've got Hollywood Brown back. Worthy's become a big part of the offense. And so I think that the receiving core is better than it was last year when they won the Super Bowl. And I think that their defense is playing better than it played last year. I just don't see the Texans winning this game. Let's move on to probably the most important AFC matchup. And that's going to be the battle of MVPs as we've got the Ravens going against the Buffalo Bills.
I think this was tough because I think if Baltimore uses Derrick Henry like they should, they're going to win this game. I don't know if they will. And so give me Buffalo to win this game. I just got a feeling there's all this hype between these two guys for the MVP. And I know the voting's over. They can't go back and change all that because it's a regular season award.
Which receiving core do you like better, Baltimore or Buffalo?
Baltimore.
You like Baltimore's receiving core?
Yeah, I like, you got Bateman, Mark Andrews when he shows up. I know I'm missing one. The other receiver they got.
Flowers, but who's hurt?
Well, yeah, and I just think, I like their offense more, but it's because Derrick Henry. And in the playoffs, if you can run the football effectively, you can win the game. I just don't know if they'll take the ball out of Lamar's hands more and just feed it to Henry. Because Henry had like a 50-yard run against the Steelers. If I'm not mistaken, at one point. Just feed that. That's how you win in the postseason when you have a team.
Well, all the
like
teams that ran well, except for Washington, won.
Yeah.
So all the teams that actually did better on the ground game won those playoff games, except for because Washington really relied on Jay Daniels.
Yeah,
and Jay Daniels only had, I think, like 39 yards rushing in that game.
But it's no secret when you're playing against a top quarterback, which Josh Allen is, easily top 5. When you're playing against these guys, the least amount of possession you can give them, the better chances of you winning. You do that by running the ball and clock management. I think Harbaugh's a smart coach. He's going to be able to do that. I hope Henry gets the volume to get that game.
Well, I like the Bills' receiving core better. I actually think that their receiving core is better, and I like both their tight ends. I like Coleman. I like Shakir. I like the receiving core better. I just think it's a more reliable receiving core than what you're going to get out of the Ravens' receiving core. To me, that's a little bit of a difference. If we're talking about I need to get a first down running the football from the quarterback position, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, I'm taking Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I trust Josh Allen more to get me that 1 yard run than I do Lamar Jackson.
So when I'm kind of watching this, and the reason I'm picking the Bills to win it, is it kind of, I don't know, I didn't watch it during the John Elway years, but to me that is the Josh Allen, kind of right now. When Elway went on them Bronco runs.
Well, this is their best. This is their best team. This is the best Josh Allen team that he's ever been on. This is and plus I think this is the hungriest they've ever been. And I think this has got to be their time. If they're ever going to do it, it's going to be this year because I just can't see them bringing all of this personnel back, the coaching staff back.
Yep.
After it's kind of like what the Eagles did with Andy Reid. Andy Reid, he got him there, but after a while it was like, you know what, Andy, you're getting us there, but we just haven't gotten what we need to. Surprisingly, Andy goes to Kansas City, okay? Philadelphia wins the Super Bowl, okay? So they win a Super Bowl by going through some of the coaching changes, that they went through and everything else from, that they had. And then Andy Reid, of course, gets a Super Bowl win, over in Kansas City afterwards. But they had to literally reshuffle, restart in order to get that Super Bowl. Buffalo, to me, has got to win it now because I do believe that there's a possible reshuffling of personnel, coaching staff that could take place after another disappointing playoff season. Better defense, Baltimore or Buffalo?
I feel like I would kind of just take the Ravens. Just historically, they're a great defensive team.
I'm going to go with the Bills' defense. I like the Bills' defense a lot better, and I think they're coached better. That's one of the things that McDermott is really good at is the defensive side of the football. They're able to keep the Bills' teams into play. And the one thing I think about when I look at the Ravens team is that you can run against that team, and Cook has been on fire, and I think you can run against the Ravens, and so I think that helps. I also think offensively right now, schematically, it's very difficult to stop the Bills. Josh Allen right now with James Cook running the football and having all of his options, at the receiver position. Amari Cooper, even though he hasn't showed up big, don't forget that he's still out there and that he's still available to make these plays and stuff for this team.
This could be his game.
This could be an Amari Cooper game. I just I like the Bills. I do like the Bills, and they're at home.
Yep.
So that's another deciding factor for this.
I'm going to pick the Bills. They're at home. I like Josh Allen in this matchup, but I think the Ravens do have the firepower to win the game. I just don't know. Something in my gut says do not bet against Josh Allen in this game.
All righty. Let's go on down to the next one. We're going to the NFC this time, and we've got the Commanders and the Detroit Lions.
I want to pick the Commanders so bad.
I know you do.
I do because I enjoy Dan Campbell and Jaden. I like what they got going. I think this is going to be some kneecap soup, and I don't know how big the spread's going to be, but Campbell understands the assignment right now, and I think in the NFC, they are the best team left of the four. I don't really see an argument with that. They're going to have home field advantage. Those fans are ready. It's going to be Detroit to win this one by, I would even say, 2 to 3 scores.
Tampa Bay ran pretty good against them. Bucky Irvin ran well against the Commanders, and I think one of the things that the Detroit's going to do is they're going to try to take the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands. They don't want him making plays, and the best way to do that is to run the football. And one of the things that Detroit can do is run the football. So I think you're going to see a lot of Jamar Gibbs.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of him. I'm looking at 22 to 25 carries probably. And so I believe they're just going to schematically do that. And I agree with you. Detroit Lions are my Super Bowl pick. A Super Bowl winning team.
And I like the Commanders. I like what they've done, but Detroit is just they are like the Kansas City, right, at the NFC. That's a complete team, tough to beat.
Yep. Until somebody beats them. That's how I told you. I said I'm picking them every game until somebody beats them all the way through. That's my Super Bowl pick to win it all this year. And I just, even with all the injuries, I still like them.
Yeah.
I still like them. Let's go to the last one, which I think is probably going to be, to me, the closest of all the games. I think, even with Buffalo and Baltimore, I think at some point one of those two teams is going to break out and it's going to be like a 10-point game.
Yeah.
This is a game that I can see going down to the very wire. And we're talking about the Rams going to Philadelphia. Who you got?
This was kind of tough, right? Because I really don't believe in the Eagles that much. I don't know if the Rams are going to be able to stop that entire offense, and they might. They might. But I think Barkley had an amazing year. The receiving core with Hurts. I don't like the coach, but give me Philly at home to win this game.
Coaching wise, I think you would take McVay.
Yes.
You're going to take him as far as coaching his team. I do love the Rams' young defense. I've talked about that on numerous occasions. I just think that young defense is stout, but I think the Philadelphia defense is better, and I just think you're talking about a better defense. Philadelphia, player for player, probably outside of maybe the quarterback position, okay, is going to be better overall. You might give a slight edge to the receiving core to the Rams, okay? And by the way, Higbee showed up big in that Rams game this past Monday night. He was big. Having him back here these last few weeks, coming back in off that injury and stuff, he's looked really good. He had several big catches in the first half. That's going to help them out a lot. And I'm kind of up in the air on this particular matchup. I think this is going to be the closest of the two matchups. Just something's going to tell me I think Rams get it. Yeah. I just got an inkling. I think the Rams are going to get it. That's just what That's just kind of what my mind is telling me. A little bit going into there. It's going to be such a close game. To me, if I was a betting person, this is the game I don't bet on.
No.
I'm not betting on this game. I don't care about the spread. I don't care about anything. To me, this is something's going to be crazy. That's going to happen and stuff like that. Hurts is coming back, from the concussion protocol. He's been back these last couple of games, so he should be better. He did not play a very good game in this last game. Typically speaking, for the Eagles, despite what everybody wants to say about Sirianni, when they come off a bad game, the next week they follow it up with a pretty good game.
Yeah.
They don't play 2 bad games in a row.
So I kind of picked Philly because I don't think they can let Clint down a week early. I think they got to go to Detroit and let him down, let him get a little bit more taste of that Super Bowl, and then they're going to let Clint down.
Oh, I'll tell you what. If the Rams win, I fear them more beating Detroit than I do the Eagles.
Because how sad would that be? Stafford goes to Detroit and beats them to go to the Super Bowl.
That would be catastrophic.
Yeah, that would
it would be catastrophic. But it would, But I'm just saying. I just think when you're talking about with the personnel that the Rams have, they can do some things, and the defense that they have. Because one of the things is that gives Philadelphia an advantage in this game is their offensive line. Their offensive line is so strong, it's so good, that they're not, the Rams aren't going to be able to put the pressure on the Eagles like they did against the Vikings because of the offensive line. Lane Johnson and those guys, they're just a really powerful offensive line.
When you have a mobile quarterback, a great running back, good receiving core, I think it's going to be a whole different defensive scheme than what they did against Minnesota.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. I'm going to pick the Rams, but
it's a toss-up. It's
not by much. I just something tells me that's who's going to win, but there you go. Folks, that's all we got time for, brother. We appreciate you watching. Enjoy the divisional round of the playoffs. I am the Water Dog. This is. And our buddy Clint says hi to you, brother. Y'all take care.